All right, y'all. We recording. We live. I'm gonna get a better camera. I know. Y'all like, okay, he using that 720p. Like, damn, he's old school. He's old school. He's kind of all probably gonna be kind of wondering, like, how is he so ahead of the curve as a young man in his teens and in his 20s, kind of ahead of the curve. And like, I was like if you had to look at us, if you had to look at, where I grew up at and with my friends and ilk, and if you had to say we were public enemy, I would have been like the minister of information. I would have been like Griff, pretty much. I kind of would have been like the Griff, like I would have been the person that has all the technical information, how things work and how to hook stuff up. And when anything technical, somebody might come to me and ask, because I would understand input, output, audio and stuff like that. Cable, the scramblers, hookups, all that kind of stuff. So, but this segment is going to be about the Minnehaha One-Stop Shop. And that was covered right after my first contract with Coloplast. There's going to be maybe a couple different segments and stories about this as I go. As I say, things were steak and eggs some days and then ramen noodles the other. We truly took matters in our own hands. If you ever, the conservatives used to use that term. They try to make it seem like it's an empowering term for black, when they term in terms of black folks. Pull up your bootstraps and stuff. We didn't really have no boots or no strings. We had to kind of make our own. But we really pulled our own. We didn't have no handouts. We wasn't the type. We wasn't sitting up there waiting on the government or waiting on white mommy and white daddy to, shape our destiny and wait on a crazy check or any of that kind of stuff. No, we got it out the mud. We came up with ways and came up with a couple dollars here and there and built our own business on the fly. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't do a business plan or nothing like that. We just put a couple dollars together and said, all right, let's try this. So I want to show a picture that kind of encompass what was kind of going on around that time. A lot of times I attribute it not because it's vain, but to cars, because when I was coming up and when I showed y'all where I grew up at in the River Bluff townhouses, blocks away from the projects, 6-7 blocks away from the projects, if that, Washington and Cedar was a very important cornerstone for me because I had to take the bus. Doesn't matter how cold it was, you had to walk all the way up. There was no bus that was directly, we were kind of segregated from the city, in a way. Oh, by the way, as you can see, I got my Harlem Hellfighters, which should get a lot more respect. I talk about the Harlem Hellfighters. Shout out to Simba Ali. He do his Harlem Hellfighters thing too. So this is basically Universal Man, Universal Woman with the Harlem Hellfighter shield. And you can see the man holding the shield, the woman behind him. He got his shield and his pipe. And then you have the child with the shield, because he's going to be a man. So that's on the Being Black and IT website. I don't promote myself as much as I should. I guess maybe because I don't like asking for nothing, but I think I should start doing that. You know what I'm saying? Start promoting a lot more with the materials that I put together and whatnot. Because, so I want to show a picture in terms of the cars. These were different points in my life. When I started getting mobile, everything started going up. I didn't have to depend upon Metro Transit to get me where I needed to be. It took a long time for me to do it because I felt like at one point I could take the bus. I don't need it. I could go everywhere I need to go. My homies used to be like, bro, you don't want to drive and nothing like that. And then after a while, people get tired of bumming rides with you, or, you can't move forward. You can't get out to the suburbs to get no money if you need to. You really can't go on a date like that. After a while, you're supposed to have a license as a man. That's something you're supposed to do. And no one should have to really tell you that. In my 20s, I wasn't really thinking cognitively like that. Like, okay. But once I got to the point where I said, man, this bus thing ain't gonna work. It's holding me back. And so that was my whole thing. for all them times being out in the cold and having to wait on a transit or whatever, I said, man, no, this ain't gonna work. So there's a picture I want to show. This right here was around the time I told you at the end of 2008. I was working at Coloplast during that time at the end of 2008. Now, I didn't really break down 2008 like I should have in the last live, but I want to talk about it right now. So August 2008 is when I got the contract. When I was done with my 1-year internship at the nonprofit, for just a few months, it didn't take long. I was done in July. Was it June or July? I was done with the 1-year internship, and I got a contract within a month. So I went from $10 to $17 literally within a month. That's a big jump for a young dude at the time that doesn't have a college degree, that literally got it out the mud himself, and I didn't really have no tech mentors all like that. I could say that my supervisor could have been, but I didn't really have nobody. I didn't have like no big homies or nothing like that. I was kind of my own little big homie. I kind of had to figure it out. So I wasn't talking to my dad a lot. There was really nobody that could really help steer me in the route. I was going on and doing it as I go. You know, that's why I'm not apt to wait on people. When there's something I want to do, man, I really don't want to hear everybody else's opinion about what I should do and why I shouldn't do it. No, sometimes I was like, man, I'm just gonna do this shit. If it works, it works. So, lost my train of thought. So, what I end up doing, I start interviewing for help desk, stuff like that. I went out to this place, I think it was Assurant in Woodbury. Went way out there. This was before the GPS and all that kind of stuff. I think I went off of, I think it's 694. I can't remember where it was at. I might put the map up for you guys when I do the editing. I think I will. I think I will. So that Woodbury was like damn near off limits to me. I would have went out there, but and this is when I had the Dodge Spirit. Remember? And let's just back up just a little bit, because y'all got to get some context to this. When I was working at the nonprofit, I went down to Lake Street out of all places. I went down to Lake Street and I went to some place on East Lake. You know how the police station burnt down from the Floyd lynching riots, or the uprising. A couple blocks down, maybe 3 blocks down, there was a car lot, real janky. This dude started talking about all this God stuff and religion. Oh, we help people, holy this and all that, all that old, that game. He sold me like a Buick. I don't know why I went on East Lake Street. I guess it was because I lived over on 27th and Minnehaha, right by Club. I live right there. So I probably figured I just walk down there, get a little BS car. I think the car was like maybe $2,000 or like $1,500 or something like that. So I put $500 down, and you know how they hit you with them astronomical prices. They prey on the poor, and not to say I was weak, but it was a weak-minded decision for me to buy that car. So I bought the car, didn't really think well enough. I should have just saved up another $500 and went and got a beater, or like a Brougham or something like that. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, I go there, put $500 down. Transmission goes out like 2-3 weeks later. So now I'm taking this car over here to Mr. Dan's, right over there on 36 in Minnehaha. Wesley and Mr. Dan's, everybody know who they is. So I'm taking it over there. It seems like every couple of weeks I'm taking money over there to try to fix this damn car, and I'm paying this $225 a month or whatever. After a while, I said, you know what? I ain't paying this shit. I took the keys. My supervisor wrote a letter like he was a lawyer. Like, okay, Mr. Pearson ain't gonna be paying for this no more. Y'all sold him. The transmission went out literally like in a couple weeks. Now I'm a repeat offender. I made this dumbass decision twice. Y'all ain't gonna believe this next one. This might be the Burnsville part 3. So let me write that down. This is another story. I'm gonna be candid. I'm just gonna show y'all I'm gonna show y'all how I went from, saying the bastard Jon Snow to Lord Snow. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be honest. So, anyway, what I did was I went to, I just drove the car down there with the janky transmission because you couldn't back up. So I just drove the car down there, put the keys in their lockbox, and put the letter like, I ain't paying y'all nothing else. It never really fell on my credit or nothing. They knew what they did, so they wasn't tripping. They didn't even call me. The so-called religious dude that sold me the car, he didn't even have the Christian decency to call me up and say, hey kid, yeah. But that was their game. So 1 or 2 weeks later, I got back on the bus because it was cold. I think around that time, I think it was cold. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was cold as hell because remember, I brought that car. It was a crackhead, over off at like 36 in Minnehaha or some dude I met. I don't know, some nigga at AutoZone or something. And so he was trying to look out for me, and he was trying to replace the gas pump and all that. I took it to a bunch of different people. I'm young. I don't know shit. So, yeah, I got back on the bus. And then what I did next was I went on Craigslist. And there was this old school dude that I used to fix his computer and stuff like that. This dude from New York. His name was New York. I called him New York. Big fat dude, worked at Metro Transit and stuff. Muslim dude, I think. And I used to go over his house and like work on stuff, and I used to sell him wholesale. You know what I'm saying? I used to sell him wholesale mixtapes and stuff. So, and then he had a dupe. And so, it was like a little conglomerate of us that might have had duplicators and stuff like that at that time. I was one of the youngest, you know what I'm saying? So I was kind of a little bit ahead of the game. But now this is past the block. This is past me with my backpack on the block, doing all of that. So at this point, I was kind of, a little driving a little bit, or getting in my. So when that happened, I'm trying to remember if that was 2007 or was that early 2008. It probably was early 2008 or late 2007, December 07 or something, when I got that Lumina. I don't know. I had to look at my ID. But anyway, I hustled it up. People calling me, hey, I need my computer fixed. I'd go over their house, hop on the bus. I'd hop on the 21. I'd hop on the was it not the 14? Was it the what's the one that ran on Nicollet? On Nicollet Lake. It was like the 14 or the 15 or the wasn't the 19. It was like the 14 or the 16 or the 11 or 10 or something. It was one of those. I don't think it was a 10. I think the 10 ran on Central Avenue. But anyway, I just play the bus, going over people's houses. I might go over north, mainly over south, fix their computer, 100. Go to another house, 100. Do it another 100. And I saved up like a rack. In like a week or half a week or something like that. Slanging my mixtapes, paycheck. Pay my rent. Took the rack, go on Craigslist, got a Dodge Spirit. That thing was a little tank, 93 Dodge Spirit. Threw 212s in the back, Pioneer deck, done. Got my roll on, ordering desktops and doing all that kind of stuff. August 2008. Started interviewing, going to I know this is a long story, but I got to go through it so we can get into 2009 because I missed this little piece. So interviewing Woodbury, I might have interviewed maybe one place. When I went to Robert Half, I sent my resume over to Robert Half. That was the first place that gave me, a job. So I don't talk too bad about them. The rates wasn't the best. But I didn't know that at that time, and I didn't give a damn. I was making $10 and made $17 right away. So I interviewed at the Sharon in Woodbury, drove out there with my little Dodge Spirit, put my little put my suit on. There was a sister when I went to Digital Career Academy on Plymouth Avenue in North Minneapolis. Her husband had a suit. It was too big for me, but when I was going through the program, I was telling her about all the little janky stuff that was going on, and I was kind of disgruntled about that. She said, don't worry about it. I was real pissed about what was going on, the way they were handling that program. She said, my husband got an extra suit. She gave me the suit. She said, it's a little big for you, but it was a nice suit. Man, that suit got me every damn job I needed. Every time I put that suit on, even though it was a little bigger, I'm telling you, I got a job. Let me see if I put that suit. Let me see. Here's the suit. That's the suit right here. I hope everything's recording right. Let me make sure, because I don't want to have to do this again. Okay, that's the suit, y'all. That's the suit. Every time I put that suit on, especially when I used to go downtown, you talk about getting shows. Older corporate sisters was looking at like, man, who's this nigga? And you could see that it was too big. But I was a handsome I was a handsome little bastard. I was a handsome little bastard back then. You know what I'm saying? So that got me, I'm telling you. That man, I ain't, let me tell you something. I go downtown, who is you? When you have a suit on and you a young brother and you looking sharp, when people see you in the hallway, you might have an old school brother or old school white dude. When they see you in the elevator and you're tie, I didn't really know how to tie. So when they see you in the elevator and you kind of walking around, people think you're on business. So they respect you. They respect you off the rip. They respect you. So they fix your tie. Hey, son, let me hook you up with your collar. They respect you because you look like you're getting ready to go handle business. You're not walking around with your pants hanging off your ass looking like you're getting ready to do a drill. They respect you. And I saw that early. It goes a long way. People just assume like, okay, who is he? He's trying. His tie may not be, but he's trying. That's how I looked every time I went on the interview. I wore that. Eventually I started wearing vests. So now they send me to go to Assurant. I'm talking to the help desk. They got a sister in there. The help desk it was a strange interview. I don't know if they were they acted like they were damn near intimidated of me. Like they ain't used to seeing a nigga like me or something like that. I could tell that they don't get a lot of brothers in IT. This was 2008, y'all. This probably was like the beginning of August or maybe mid-July when I had that interview. And they could kind of tell I come from a desktop background, which is always level 2. Help desk is always level 1. Desktop is above. I started doing desktop support. So most people start at the help desk on the phone, which to me is actually harder because you're dealing with assholes all the time, but you're learning the business. I didn't start in the call center. I started doing deployment, installing switches and routers and Cat5 cables, stuff like that. I will start. So that's level 2 right off the rip. Don't forget that. Because that's on your way to being a system admin, if you want to say it. All the sysadmin is just a glorified desktop person, but they're dealing with servers and things of that nature. So interview naturally didn't work out. They could kind of tell. They must have called Robert Half like he wasn't really feeling it or whatever. The vibe was terrible as soon as I got through the door. But I didn't really want to be there. I would have worked there, but I enjoyed doing desktop support anyway. So I interviewed a Coloplast. That was a 30-minute interview through Robert Half. They needed a new hire coordinator. Now I covered that in my last storyline. So now let's get to 2009. So when I started that, I worked there a couple weeks, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and I got sick. I didn't know why I was sick. Well, that previous day, and I could talk about it now. I'll tell y'all now because, like I say, I was a little handsome bastard back then. I was having my way. I'm telling y'all, I was having my way. I'll just say that. So I'm dealing with, one of my homies. We ended up falling out, whatnot, but I'm dealing with him. He's in the back. I'm driving. It's this little, it's this high yellow chick I was dealing with at the time. I was, kind of on and off and stuff. So she was looking for a car. She was trying to buy a car, so she asked me, can I help her go find one? We had kind of fell out earlier, but she still wanted to kind of holler, whatever the case. Anyway, so I was kind of messing with her here and there. So she's like, help me find a car, DP or whatever. I'm trying to go look for a car or whatever. So we go look for a car. We go to St. Louis Park. Man, we go out there. We didn't find the car, whatever the case. We probably ended up in Micro Center, whatever the case like that. She's on the side. She's on the side of me. I don't remember if she had a child or I can't remember, but I know that that my homie was in the back. We driving down the street, looking for this car or whatever like that. Now, mind you, my sugar is extremely high. I had no idea I had diabetes. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was just kind of sick and feeling weird sometimes. And, you know, my feet were heavy and all the worst symptoms that you could ever have. But I thought I was sick. I had no idea what was wrong with me. I should have went to the hospital. Driving down the street, getting ready to make a left turn. Boom. Didn't even know what was going on. Turn around. Drunk white lady behind me hit us with a Tahoe. Now I'm in this tank, so there ain't no airbags or nothing. St. Louis Park come through. St. Louis Park, race soldiers. These weren't police. These were race soldiers. They asking us all these questions. She looked drunk out of her mind. She's coming up to the car. Oh, are you guys all right or whatever? They're not really checking her like that. They running through my pockets, running through all this. Oh, do you got an ID? Blah blah blah. And I'm still not all the way there because I'm kind of sick and I don't know what's going on. But the way that they treated us, they acted like we ran into the back of her. Oh, miss, are you okay? What are you guys doing out here? What are you doing all of that? So these suspected white supremacists, they start getting into the, you know, they start doing all the most. Anyway, they asked, you want me to tow the car? I ended up dropping them off at Edina Hospital, right off 100. The Edina, y'all know the Edina Hospital right by the Edina Mall. We go to the hospital. I should have checked in. They get checked out and everything. I parked the car in the parking lot. I should have really checked in. I don't know how she got home. I don't remember. I think I dropped my homie off and I went home or something like that. During this time, I think my light bill was late or something like that. And I don't know, but they end up cutting it off. So my whole lights were off at one point in time, and she ended up coming back over the house. She's like, do you want me to pay the bill or whatever? Like, I had too much pride. I don't want no help here. Y'all know how I am. I ain't want no help, which I should have said yes. She's like, hey, do you want me to pay the light bill? And she stayed with me with the light. You know, my fridge wasn't even on. So I lit candles. Like, she must have came by or something like that. I can't remember how we ended up there, but I was just, my feet were heavy. I was just sick out of my mind and didn't know what was going on. So we is sitting up in there, snuggled up with the candles on. And then I think I got the light back on like in a couple days. Or I think my parents or somebody found out that I ain't had no lights and niggas couldn't, because I ain't tell nobody. I said, I'm gonna handle this. So I think I went to work. It was like my first week or something like that. And I'm working with Trailer Trash Bob and all that. And I'm just not feeling it or whatever. I think I told you guys this story before, but I got to run through it real quick so we can get to 09 or the end of 08. So this is going to be a long live. Bear with me. So we end up, I'm thirsty. That's a symptom. So I'm drinking orange juice, making it even worse and worse. So when I get to working that week, first couple days feeling weird, having all these weird symptoms and stuff like that, I get to the point where I'm at lunch. I'm downtown. I think we were at the city center at that time or something like that at the subway. It's 2008, y'all. So I was telling one of my coworkers, the white dude that told me about Trailer Trash Bob, that kind of gave me the game on how the Trailer Trash Bob was a race soldier. He said, man, you got to get checked out. I told him how I'm feeling. My teeth was kind of loose. Like I was having the worst symptoms in the world. So I drove all the way from downtown Minneapolis to Bloomington and Lake Clinic. They had me there. They tested my sugar. My shit was like 600, 700. They should have called me an ambulance. The doctor almost said something crazy like I was lying or whatever. What did I do? I go across the street on 33rd or 34th on Bloomington and Lake, get a Sprite. Why I do that? Still thirsty. Drove down to see the Riverside, right by Divines, Riverside Hospital. Still thirsty. Go to Subway, get a sandwich, spit it out. Grab another Sprite because I'm still thirsty. Don't know what's going on. Check in, telling them everything was going on. How did you even get here? They're like, because I was like seeing double vision. I could barely drive. I didn't know what was going on. They checked my sugar. Get him back! Bring the stretcher! Hurry up! It's an emergency! Bring him back! I'm like, what? What's going on? What's going on? Put the IV in him! We ain't got long. They're screaming and hollering. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What's happening? What's wrong with me? Mr. Pearson, get on the stretcher. Put him on his, we gotta get him back here. Hurry up. He ain't got long. And so now my heart's beating. It's funny now. It wasn't funny at that time. It's it was almost like the ER. Like when you see the ER, it's all extra dramatic and stuff. Hurry up, put him on the IV. We don't got long. Get him back there. They're screaming and hollering. They're rushing me to the thing. Like, oh, put the IV in him. I'm like Wolverine and the X-Men. I'm like Wolverine. Hey, don't poke no needles with me. I don't like no tattoos or nothing. They trying to put the IV in. I'm arguing. I don't want no IV. Don't put no IV in me or whatever. Oh, you gotta put, so they finally calm me down, put the IV in me or whatever. They show me my blood sugar, my shit like 1200. So it's like I'm out of there. They be like, we don't know how you made it. It was crazy. Anyway, get back to work. I'm kind of out of it around that time. I tell them what's going on, insulin. Y'all know the story on that. So what ended up happening, let's get down to the end of 2008. Do that 4-month contract. Meet Tall Mocha Chocolate downtown. Anyway, y'all gonna see that one. So I ended up I did that contract. I ended it December 2008. Around this time, I bought the Bonneville from Big Rob. Let me get some of my notes up. I bought the Bonneville from Big Rob. Okay. So the Bonneville from Big Rob, it had shocks. The shocks were completely out. It had leather seats, 3800 engine, was a beast, all white. I was still driving around that Dodge Spirit. I got I don't know if it was a settlement. It was something where, but I kept the car. I paid him like another couple $100s to keep the car, and then I ended up selling it, or I don't know what I did. So I told them you could total the car out, but you couldn't really open up the trunk. But the car was still functioning. I don't know who I sold that car to, but it was a good running. It was a damn good car, man. That car probably would still run to this day. So I bought the white Bonneville from my homie Big Rob. Went to Mr. Dan's on 36 to Minnehaha, 37. Got the shocks put in. Had to put the Pioneer deck, 8-ball MJZ and all that. Then I went and I got this. Oh, I thought I was doing my thing. I went and got this. 1986 LeSabre. I fell asleep in that a couple winters because it was so comfortable. There was not a night that I did not play 8-ball double disc loss. Not a night. I'm telling you, I was having my way. I ain't even had no blades on it. I ain't even dropped a 350 in there yet. I was having my way for real. I was having my way. I was having a good old time in that joint. I ain't gonna get no detail. I was, put it like this. Netflix and chill on steroids without Netflix. I was having my way. So I had 2 whips at the time. The contract ended with Robert Half. So I think I must have filed for unemployment or something like that. I was supposed to pay my rent. One day, I was hanging around my homies. So it was me, Josh G, and my other homie. We was sitting around one day talking like, man, it was like the beginning of 2009. And we were like, man, I wasn't planning on going back to work anytime soon. So he's like, man, we need to do something. So we overheard saying, man, we need to get a shop. Because I was done with corporate at that time. I was tired and burnt out from the diabetes and stuff. I don't know what it was. I guess it kind of went through a lot of different stuff. So when we found a commercial place, we found some Arab dude on 34th and Minnehaha. We just had incense and mixtapes initially at the time we signed a 1-year commercial lease. and I was bringing furniture. I was buying CDs, or I was buying something, and I was getting ready to go open the shop before we had our grand opening. And some dumbass lady in Richfield hit the side of my car and crashed my car. So now I got 2 crashes within damn near less than a year. Some Karen rear-ended me in 2008 of August. And then another Karen right on Walgreens over in Richfield, 66 in Richfield. See, you know that turn where you ain't supposed to cross over? You know, Walgreens right here. You ain't supposed to cross over here. You got the Chinese buffet right here and then Subway over there. Her goofy ass, what she does, let me show myself. I want to put both of us on. What I just do? What she does some goofy stuff. She tries to go across where it tells you don't make a right turn. It literally tells you do not cross over, because we were headed coming from Richfield. I think my homie was in Edina. I don't know where he was living, but I would think to pick him up or something. And we were headed towards downtown, you know, on Nicollet, 66 and Nicollet. You know, you got the Foot Locker right there and all that kind of stuff. And so, but she makes a goofy turn coming out of Walgreens or something, and smacks into my homies, smacks into this side right here. Not this side, but the passenger side. So she smacks into the passenger side. Richfield PD come, checking through my car. Same thing in St. Louis Park. Showing my ID, got my insurance, everything's all good or whatever. When the car hit, it must have opened up the door or something like that. Had a big ass fat bag of kill. This yours? I must have had a blunt or something like that. That was like half a blunt or something. That was in the that was like in the you know what I'm saying, in the cigarette, you know. Were you high? He says, were you smoking this? He could see it. He could clearly see what was going on. But I wasn't smoking it, so I wasn't. I was sober, but it was from yesterday. So I tell him, I didn't smoke that today. So he looks at me and says, I mean, he can't say the nigga's lying. Most people are like, man, that ain't mine. I don't know where that came from. I wasn't gonna run that game, nigga. You could clearly see, but I guess paraphernalia like hell. We ain't gonna be stupid. I'm like, I smoked that yesterday. I don't even know if he took it. He might have just left it up in there, but then he must have seen something in the glove box or seen a bag or some, you know what I'm saying? He didn't even give me a ticket or whatever. He didn't even arrest us for it. He seen what the lady did. He's like, he didn't smell, you know, there was no smell. So we still go to the shop. Or did we go to the shop? I'm trying to remember. Oh, I remember. I don't think we went to the shop. No, we didn't. I don't think we went to the shop. I don't even think I even got to the shop. I think, yeah, they towed it. I don't even know how I got to the shop. I think I took a cab or something, but they towed it because this is the place that they towed it at. This is the place they towed it at, and they said that they would have been able to get the frame together how it was supposed to be. You see, this joint was beautiful. But you know, anyway, I think the shop. I think that actually, y'all, you know what? Let me take this back. I think the shop was already open when I before the crash. I can't remember, but I let my homie Big Rob take it around the block because he had a nice ass Dodge Ram. Rob was doing this thing, so I let him take it around the block. I'm all pompous and shit. Man, I got me an old school two-door. Two-doors is hard to find, but it was a little rickety. The door was a little rickety. The upholstery needed to be fixed. So I'm up there, kind of lightweight bragging and extra happy about my little two-door and shit. My homies come by. Oh, you got a two-door? Big Rob comes in with his new Dodge Ram. He said, let me spin it around the block, DP. He gets in there. I said, what you think, bro? He said, man, this is a piece of shit. He said, this is a piece of shit. My heart just dropped. I was mad. I said, what? I said, it's a $2 saver. He said, man, you better cut a moonroof up in that joint, throw some blades on it, man, and fix this upholstery. You know, Chicago niggas, man, they just gonna, you know, they gonna say what's on their mind. I'm like, I'm thinking I'm doing something big. I said, well, I'm gonna drop the 350 in there. He said, man, fix that upholstery, bro. Fix that upholstery, bro. So anyway, we open up the shop. We got incense. Josh G, he gets the furniture by this place right off of Highway 55. Right, you got Plymouth over here, but then they sell upholstery and whatnot. So he gets these glasses. I get some of the mixtapes, putting those up in there. Incense. We just doing stuff as we go along. Get a sign. He going to like the clubs and stuff, passing out flyers. The sisters in Minneapolis, shout out to them.
Yeah.
The sisters in Minneapolis supported us some of the most. The brothers did too, but a lot of sisters did. We started getting women's clothes in there. We figured out that women, they gonna buy stuff off the rip. Especially if they like you and they trying to holler at you, they'll come up in there and they'll bring their homegirls. So what ended up happening was we got a lot of women coming in there. Then I started doing the PC repair. That was $100. I slashed it in half because I could have still charged that 100. But remember, a lot of people that bring their PCs, yeah, Geek Squad's charging people $300-400, but I adopted that same thing. Like, I'm not gonna hit the community with what I can hit them with. I'm not gonna hit them with no $200-300. I know you can go and buy a new desktop or laptop for that. Desktops were around $400-500. Laptops even more. You could get a bullshit E-Machine laptop or some little, you know, janky little Latitude joint for about $375, but just give me 50. I'm using a Dell OEM disk. I'm wiping out the hard drive. I'm done in an hour. Come pick it up tomorrow, or the same day if you want to. A lot of times people, they wouldn't scratch off the serial of the Windows XP Professional. So if I got an OEM disk, I got the license code. I'm legal. So that's what I used to do. So we doing all that. There's a lot of people that's coming to us because they used to go to disco teas and stuff, but people didn't always like the environment. So some people would start bringing their kids around and stuff like that. But we're still in the hood. There's still all kinds of little things going on, and I won't get into details about that. I'll just say there was a lot of things that was going on in the neighborhood that we weren't necessarily a part of or whatever, but you're still there, so you're kind of knowing people, you know people. So we were trying to make sure that we keep it not a hood spot, but we selling mixtapes and hood shit. We selling CDs, and you know what I'm saying. We this ain't the most corporate environment. You know what I'm saying. Like you're among the people. You're not in Hollywood. This ain't a Beverly Hills situation. So you're not. Your customer base is the people that live around in the area. What was happening sometimes is you'd have certain dudes that might be from different places, and they'd come in and they might get their computer fixed. Shoes, Air Force Ones was a big thing back then. Tall tees was a little earlier, but t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. So I was using Fedora at that time. I was using Linux because people kept getting viruses and things of that nature. And this is a picture too around that time. This is me. I had my little hoodie. I had that hoodie for a long time. This is me right here. And somebody's album, I can't remember who album it was, but there was this one dude named Ray, and he had a cousin from Memphis or something. So we promoted, whatever. You see our little, and then we thought about putting a studio down in the basement, but then we thought about who was going. Y'all know, like I told y'all, them studios, and around that time, everybody want to rap and all that. So the folks is rapping, it ain't no rhyme sayers type niggas. Yeah. It ain't no, these ain't no rhyme sayers, nigga. These trap niggas coming in. So we really was thinking like, should we put a studio down there? But we didn't want it, like I say, we didn't really want it to be like a, because it could end up like a hangout spot. And in a way, sometimes it ended up being like that anyway. We got to a point, we made some mishaps. And we probably should have invested a little more. I ended up getting like a settlement because remember that last car crash from the Dodge Spirit? I ended up getting a settlement, so I bought some more shoes and stuff like that. And I just want to tell y'all about when I ended up buying, you know, because I got rid of the LeSabre. My homie Josh G sent me. He sold me a Chrysler. That's right when the shop kind of opened up, but the Chrysler was janky. I knew the Chrysler was janky. It was a piece of shit. He wasn't selling me a BS car. It's just that it was a Chrysler Sebring or something. It's a horrible car. They got tons of electrical problems, but it's a slick looking car. But it's kind of like them Intrepids, trash. I didn't hold it against him. I mean, man, them Sentras went out. As soon as he sold me that car, man, it started having a bunch of problems. But I knew that. I didn't care. So I sold it for $900. Then I ended up buying a 92. I mean, it was clean. Not the Regency, but it was a 92 Olds. I love them Oldsmobiles. Yeah, you used to tell you, I love them Oldsmobiles. So I bought that. But the subframe that holds up the motor, they get rusty sometimes. So I bought it off of a dude, and the subframe, the whole motor fell down when I was coming off the highway. I think I told y'all that story. I'll break it down another time. But anyway, so the dude ended up taking the car back, and then he gave me a janky, rusty, trusty Buick LeSabre where the AC was ice cold. Some chick from the north side came and bought it from me. She never switched it out my name, so it stayed back on my name, and I got an email saying, hey, come get this car out the impound. I sold it to her, and she was trying to choose, and I was kind of like, I don't know about you, but I sold it to her for like $500. And then I went and got like a Brougham or so I had about 3, 4, 5 cars in the period of opening up this shop. If the cars was giving me problems, I would just pop them off, or I just give them to somebody or whatever the case may be. I had an opportunity. This Somalia dude was gonna sell me a Tahoe right when I got the settlement, and I was kind of torn between buying that and or investing in the shop. I had already had a car at the time, but I deserved something that was dope. And it was a two-door Tahoe, another rare joint. I probably should have just bought it. And I was telling the guys, like, man, I kind of want to be low key, because the cars that some of these our folks was pulling up in, people that was pulling up in, looked like we got some money. So people think you start making a lot of money, they want to try to rob you and all that, and rob the shop and stuff. And that didn't happen, but I'm quite sure people thought about it. But I was trying to not treat myself. I was being selfish to myself. So I ended up just getting the Olds, and then I invested some money in the shop, and I don't know what I did with the rest of the money. I had like $5,000 or like $7,000 or whatever the case may be. So it didn't last long, but I was dedicated. I'd be at that shop sometimes 5, 6 in the morning, cutting mixtapes, doing, just I was okay with that because it was my own business. There was days where I did not have food sometimes, or I had peanut butter and jelly and ramen. And then some days it was steak and eggs. Steak and eggs, giving somebody a $50 tip somewhere. And then some days it was ramen. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it was a candy bar and a beef buddy sandwich and little deli express sandwiches, because there was like there was a gas, not a gas station, but a convenience store right on the corner. So a lot of their customers would come in and want to buy clothes and CDs and get their computer fixed and stuff like that. So I don't look at that like it was a failure. When we closed the shop, I made sure that everybody had some money. We sold everything. We thought about it like, should we? Because we thought about getting another shop somewhere, but I think we didn't invest in them. Air Force Ones was the key. There was a time where we didn't invest in some Air Force Ones. I think we made a shipment to buy some from somebody, and they like schemed us off of like $700, or I don't know what happened. But we used to go to this one nigga from St. Paul, and he would sell us kind of a wholesale price, but we couldn't keep doing that. We had to keep, but we would have been better off getting it from him than not have it at all. And people used to keep coming into the shop, man, you got them Air Force Ones, you got them Air Force Ones. They was knockoffs, but man, there was around a time too, I'm gonna tell y'all, because a lot of people had knockoff clothes. We didn't really have it. There was this dude, and y'all heard about this story. There was this dude, I'll talk about it now, but there was this nigga named Trace, big swole nigga. He had a shop on 38th and Nicollet. At one point, I don't know if he was working with the law. I don't know what it was, but he came in the store one time. Came in. Hey, bro, there's gonna be a raid. Feds in town. I'm like, what? How does he know that? It was true. Y'all got any copyrighted clothes? They ain't give a fuck about the CDs. They wanted clothes and all that. They ain't care about no mixtapes and all that. They could care less. They wanted to know if so folks was, because that bootleg clothing, bootleg Jordan, bootleg really like purses and all that, the rich white people shit. They were on niggas' asses in Minneapolis about that. Mark my words. They was going around to each little store, each little black store, and if you got some knockoff stuff, some knockoffs, they coming. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. We didn't really have none. We might have had one knockoff purse or something, but I mean, we didn't have that. So towards the end of 09, later 09, and I'll say I think in the winter, and like I say, I was still kind of moving around. I think I had my olds or whatever. I always had one or two cars at the time. So I started adopting that because I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to get to work. It wasn't so much as a show me, hey, I'm riding like this. That wasn't really what it was about. It was more so about, I had a fear. I had an innate fear on not getting to work on time or whatever. I think I had a car issue one time, and I think I walked to work or I caught the bus to work one time at the shop or whatever. But like I say, we were, how old were we when we opened up this shop? Let me see. So that was 2000, I'm going to say 2009. Man, we was in our 20s, man. We weren't kids, but I mean, we were in our 20s. So another thing that happened too is, I was at the shop one day and my pops had passed. My mom called me if my pops had passed. So like I say, I had a serious car crash in 08. Contract ended up with Coloplast at the end of 08. I had got into some other little stuff too. I won't get into all that, but my dad died. I really didn't have money to go out there and bury him like that, so she just called me up and my mom told me like, hey, he gone. And so I didn't really know how to really deal with her, how to feel or whatever, because I know there were still some conversations. When I was working at Coloplast and I was driving out to Vadnais Heights in 2008, we had a long 2-hour conversation and kind of buried the hatchet, which was needed. But there still needed to be a face-to-face, because remember, when he left when I was around 13 or so like that, he never saw us again. So when I had the shop, I was like 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 or whatever. I don't know. He never saw us again. You see what I'm saying? So every time, I got to send this to Josh G. Every time I talk to Josh G about, like, sometimes I'll be reminding us like, bro, we were young, bro. For us to not have, we didn't have no business plan. But that came from that hustle spirit. Because in the neighborhood that we grew up in, you didn't have a blueprint to get no money. We learned how to turn $1 from 1 into 2 and 3 on our very own. We didn't open up not a damn book. We went down, we registered our LLC for $100 and something, and we did our thing. And I'll never be ashamed of that. At first, like when I was like, man, we may have to close down. Like we were trying to figure out, did we want to open up, keep it going? Because we did not have the inventory that we needed to have. We were still paying the rent. We were paying like $900 a month. That's how much we were paying. We were paying $900 a month at the time. And I think he was talking about going to Atlanta, and I think he had did he have a child at the time or whatever? Like, there was a lot of different things where folks was, they had to take care of their kids. There's things that needed to happen. And what I should have did is I should have just went and got another IT contract and had some of them man the store and invested all that money right back into the store. But there was other things going on as well where we were kind of like, okay, it was too much negative energy around in the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? I admit there was things that I shouldn't have been doing. You see what I'm saying? And you know, I took it on the chin. I did what needed to be done and made sure that everybody was straight and whatnot. So we didn't walk away brokenhearted. We weren't like, we looked at it like, hey man, we'll close the shop, pay him his rent, sell everything, we good. So it wasn't necessarily no hard feelings or whatever the case may be. I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it as a situation like it was a loss. I said I got some experience of opening a business. Somebody could say, hey, here's my resume. Here's my resume, y'all. I wasn't ashamed. This was my resume. I worked 4 months at Coloplast. I opened up the shop. I'm using TeamViewer, XP, Vista, testing stuff with VirtualBox. Worked out in Burnsville. You know what I'm saying? And we already covered Burnsville. We already covered BA Bob with Menco products and stuff. So that was my first Windows 7 migration project right there. That was my first one, y'all. Eventually I worked over at Blue Cross. So I might do a Blue Cross joint, because around here, remember I told you when I was working in Burnsville, I had a Tahoe and my Tahoe broke down. I did the same stupid shit. I went to Columbia Heights. And what I do, I went to Columbia Heights, which was another Lake Street, and I bought a Tahoe for $5,000-$6,000 with $500 down. Did that again because I wanted to be in the truck. And what happened? The transmission went. Being dumb, young and dumb. And like I say, around that time, eventually I had to get a cosigner because my credit wasn't right. So my homie Osboo did the favor of doing a cosigner. And I didn't want to ask for no damn help. But I needed help. And I made them payments on time. And it raised his credit. And it raised mine. Made the payments every time. You see what I'm saying? And that's what made me say another thing when I got into the tech training. I used to always look out for my people, but I'm going to help black folks get a bag. Because somebody did help me along my way. They didn't have to do it. The average person ain't going to co-sign on no whip. I didn't have no parents. There wasn't really nobody that could help me co-sign on that whip. There was nobody that, but when my Tahoe broke down around June, actually it was July, because my car was, I think that Tahoe broke down was it in the winter? 6 months I was without a car. And I was still paying on that note for the Tahoe. And I shouldn't have did it. I did the same thing. I took the keys, drove back to Columbia Heights. Tri-City Auto, I'm going to say it. Tri-City Auto. Handed them their keys. I ain't paying y'all nothing. And it just fell off my credit or whatever. Right before it went as involuntary, you know what I'm saying? What they call that when they take the car? Involuntary, where they take the car in involuntary, a voluntary, damn it. I can't think of the name. Anyway, I went to Bloomington Lincoln Mercury and got that 2003 or that 2008. And it never let me down. And we're going to get into that too. This is when my career started. I ain't had no car troubles no more. I ain't had none of that. I'm still kind of messing. I ain't really doing the mixtape thing no more. I'm doing computer repair kind of on the side. I still had my hustle. That's what I'll say that messed me up over these past 3 to 4 years. I feel like I lost my hustle, especially with the pandemic, because everything is this now. We got to get back into physical stuff. I know New Black Media talks about that a lot, getting back into physical books, conferences, having Black Americans and our African brothers in the diaspora do business. do physical business rather than this digital shit so much. They want to digitize everything so you can't barter. That's the whole point. So you can't barter. That's why they want to get real digital. But this right here, this was at the old Perkins right here. This is on, if y'all remember, now Perkins right now gets fentanyl needles and everything. I had to play clothes. Pusha T and them had a fit come out. And then I still got these shoes. I don't wear them that much, man. But I got like, I had 10, I was doing the flights. I was collecting all the flights. This is before I had put the blades on. This is before I had put the blades on. And I had went, now remember this, I bought this car in 2012. You can see I got these same flights on because I was just doing the flights, had the Pelly Pel. I was still kind of working on my music and stuff. I didn't figure it out enough. Like, okay, nigga, you too old to rap. That ain't gonna work for you. Got into my tech training. But this was on 27th and Minnehaha. So around this time, I had this car, and I still do, and I had this one. I sold this one to Mike Titan. I sold this to one of my homies for like the dirt. So just so y'all kind of see what was going on, I was still working on my music. And right here in River Bluff, after I sprayed that 79, I released my first little album. Minneapolis on the map. So these are just some of the pieces. It's getting hot. I need to turn on a -4 out, so I don't want to open up the window. But these were kind of the pieces of my life. This around this time, this must have been, let me see. Let me open up the thing. This must have been around, well, I bought my 79 in 2012. So this must have been around, well, it wasn't when I was at Blue Cross. When I was at Travelers, that's when I sprayed my 79 Riviera. So I had that Grand Marquis for a number of years. I had that Grand Marquis for a number of years. Now, the next live, I'm going to put the blades on because I'm going to do another Travelers insurance thing. Because this was a long one, but I had to catch y'all up to the old stuff. I had to catch y'all up for the old stuff. So I might do another live tonight. I don't know. What is it, 7 o'clock? I might do another one. But I'm telling you, this was, you could see the look on my face. Now I want y'all to look at something here. Look at this look on my face. That you can see I was kind of torn. There was things going on and stuff like that. And then look at this. I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying myself, y'all. I didn't really like taking pictures. It took me forever to get on camera. I was never a camera nigga. That's why I say, like I was talking to Josh G every day the other day. I said, bro, could you imagine some of the shit we witnessed and some of the things that was going on in the city if we would have had a camera? Because even though I was a computer nerd, that didn't mean nothing. Even though I didn't want to be a trap nigga, I'm surrounded by that. When I'm going into different sections of the cities, I'm going to the 20s and 30s, North Side, Broadway. I'm not immune to what may be going on around that, what's going on. I could be a victim of circumstance too. You see what I'm saying? I just wasn't involved in the politics. But I'm a young black male coming up in the city. Nigga, anything could happen to you. There's things, you know, a lot of stuff that was going on, all kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into that. But like I say, it was some moving and shaking going around in Minneapolis around that time. I seen a lot of that stuff. I just never allowed myself to get subjected to the point where, you know, something's going on. Oh, man, let me go ahead and move around real quick. This ain't looking real copacetic for me. You see what I'm saying? So I think the next story, what I'm going to do into 2013, this kind of ties into 2013 a little bit. I think I might go ahead and do a Stack Doe story. The Stack Doe story with me and Stack Doe. Because that goes back to 2003 IPR. And then when we were working on the faction out and we were working on some, man, I'm telling you, it was like some It was like some only built for Cuba link stuff. And at first, y'all, I was thinking like, well, man, I'm not gonna put the tech stuff. This is tech. This is IT professional. And I said, man, the hell with that. This ain't no damn Wendy Williams fucking show, man. This is how my life, how I got into this. This ain't just. I showed y'all the tech side, the corporate kiss ass side. Now I'm gonna show you exactly how we got here. I got to show you that part. I have to show the grit and grime, because what I realize is, you're not gonna be no angel all the damn time. You see what I'm saying? I've never subscribed to the saint. I've never subscribed to the saint. I don't like King Joffrey, but Ramsay Bolton was gangster. You know what I'm saying? I never liked King Joffrey. Bolton would get his hands dirty. The bastard Lord Bolton of the North would get his hands dirty.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit.
You're just starting to get real credit.
You know that.
Pure dynamite. All right, we're gonna make another live. I think I'm gonna go with should we go with Block E? My homie Solomon's like, man, go with Block E. He keeps saying, oh, DPU is a Block E. I don't know, man. Block E was, I don't know. Downtown Block E, that wasn't my, that was a small little piece of my life or whatnot. He said he's making a documentary. I don't know, man. It was, I ain't really do too much down there or whatever, so I don't know. He could be trolling or whatnot. Block E was just Pop's Arcade was that joint, so I was just there. So, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and upload this. I don't even think I'm gonna put a bunch of maps. I'm gonna let y'all do the Google Maps and stuff. I'm giving y'all too much information about Minneapolis, where to go and all that. If you were there, you were there. Man, go ahead and Google this shit, bro. Go ahead and Google this. All right, y'all take care.